Caleb, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
How did you get into theater?
Okay, long story. Okay, so since I was about 3 or 4, I'm the last born. I'm number 5, child number 5 of my family, and my family, they've never been necessarily acting people.
So what are they into? Sports or this is Texas,
right? Martial arts.
Martial arts. Okay,
right?
yes,
yeah,
good.
Martial arts family, and but I've always had a passion for making people happy. I've always loved making people smile. So since I was like 3 or 4 years old, I would watch TV shows on, the TV on Cartoon Network or CW or ABC Family. And then after just a couple minutes, I would run out the door to outside in our little, front yard, and I would just start acting out the scenes, just like that, and I would just like be acting as all these different characters, and I'd just like be one side, and I'd be talking to myself, and I'd switch, and I'd just go.
It's a one-man show,
right? Exactly. And so just like that's how it got started for me. And then when I kept getting older, I started walking, and I would just do pratfalls, just like out of nowhere in our kitchen. I would just like fall down, and like my mom would be like, oh, "What just happened?" I'm like, I look up, I'm like, "That was awesome." And so my mom and dad were just like, "Oh no, we're gonna have to get him in theater." And so that's how it happened.
They didn't have a problem with that?
No, they didn't. So in 2000,
but you obviously do martial arts then, right?
Yeah,
you still do that. Okay, so they're okay.
Yeah. For about 10 years now.
Yeah.
But the first show I did was a kids show over across the street with the Crighton kids, and it was Aristocats Junior.
Right.
And it was so funny because as a 10-year-old, I'm like very introverted. I'm very shy, and so
typical actor, yes.
Yeah, and so it's once they got me there, because I signed up late. Everyone's already with costumes, and so I'm new to this whole acting thing. And so my dad just drops me off. My mom and dad just drop me off, and they just like, "Bye,
see ya."
They just leave. I'm just like, "What? I don't know these people." And so I'm just like, I find my own little corner in the theater. I'm just like sitting there, just like, I don't know you. There's kids across the room just like being happy and acting, and I'm just like, I don't know any of these people. And so the director had to assign myself a not a chauffeur, but a mentor. Yeah. And so I walked around with a mentor trying to get to the use of the whole theater thing. And so fast forward to around August, maybe August. One of the directors noticed me, the big Players Theater Company director. Yes, right. Mr. Michael Hayes.
Yes, I know Hayes. I know Michael,
and
yes.
He asked Miss Terry, the children's director, he's like, Can I ask him to come audition for me for Christmas Carol? Yeah. And Miss Terry's like, sure, why not? Yeah. And so Miss Terry personally asked me, is like, do you want to schedule a private auditions? Because at the time they already had auditions. Yeah. And so she wanted to have private auditions. And so I was like, yeah, sure. I've never been in a bigger show. I've always done like kids shows like 3 times now. So I wanted to try something new. I show up for the private rehearsals, and Mr. Michael is like, I've seen what you can do. Here's the part. And then so I'm just automatically drawn into all this acting. I'm Tiny Tim now. I'm like, wait, what just happened? And so, it's always been something that I've done. I haven't taken a break since then. It's been 6 years. I've not taken a break.
You got grease paint in your blood.
Yeah.
Once you got it, it's kind of hard to get out.
It's not coming out. But and then, I'm not having to take a break this year. I think this will be the time I kind of settle back and, reevaluate what I want to do. And of course, acting is always going to be what I want to do.
But when you say step back, so why the time? I mean, everybody needs the time to rest.
Well, my parents, my dad's just like, oh my God, we need a break. I need to stop driving you. It's just they've gotten tired of just driving me from rehearsals back and forth every single day of the week for the past 6 years. And I've had some health issues going on. So with my chest, and it's like, you know what? Okay, we're gonna take a step back. We're gonna let this health issue see what happens. I've already been seeing the doctor a couple of times. Yeah. So we're going to take a step back. And then maybe later down the road, next year, I'll be auditioning for, or hopefully, Three Musketeers. Mm-hmm. And it's a drama. God, I love dramas.
You like dramas?
It's my
What is it about drama?
What is it about dramas? Okay. So, to me, it's always, you get so drawn into the character in dramas. And it's like, in dramas, you're not thinking about the music, or you're not thinking about dancing or lyrics or anything. And so all of your mind is just on the character, and you have to learn and step inside this character's shoes in order to understand them. So you got to do your research, and granted, you got to do that with every single show, musical, comedy or not. But with this, it's so much different, and it's more. It brings you in more. Do you know what I mean? And it's so. For example, 3 years ago, I was Prince John, for Lion in Winter, and that was to this day still my favorite show and favorite character I've done. But the thing with Prince John, he's very moody. Yes. He's a brat. He wants everything for himself. He wants the crown. He wants everyone to pay attention to him. In real life, I'm a freaking goody two-shoes on the streets. I can never do anything bad for the life of me. I'm always, it's not necessarily like, oh, look at me, I'm gonna go rebel. And then, but with Prince John, it's just like, he throws a fit. He wants everyone to pay attention to him. He moves and he slouches and is like, pay attention to me. And that I can never actually do in real life. And that was, what's drawn me into drama so much is because it's always the things that you can never do in real life. And you get so drawn into their emotions and personalities, and you just become this person in this whole new world for just a month or two. And, dramas have always been what is acting for me.
So was the most difficult part of inhabiting that character? Other than it wasn't you.
Yeah, it was the brattiness and the emotions and the personality and just like stepping in his shoes. Right. That was the hardest part, is because in real life, I'm a happy-go-lucky kind of person. So like trying to frown all the time and go without smiling for a couple of hours. And it was that was the hardest part, is because I could never actually frown and just like be in a bad mood all the time, And that was like, part of it was, I talked to my dad, and my dad are really close. But with King Henry and Prince John, they're always yelling at each other. They're always in their face. Like, what about me? I'm your favorite. I'm the one you love. And it's yelling at, Mr. Jeff Baldwin, on stage was like, that was ecstatic for me, because it was just like working with someone so talented like that. And it was just so challenging because, it's not something you do every day.
Right. So how much was escapism? How much was caricature? And how much is that? That is that element of you, because we all have a dark side. Yeah, we don't let it surface necessarily, but we have the dark. So how much is that dark side just being allowed to come?
It's soothing.
Is it cathartic? Is it fantasy? What
It's fantasy. It's because, like you said, we all have a dark side, and it's being able to let that out, and that's when you
in an acceptable way.
On stage when no one can judge you. Right. It's very relaxing, because it's like you're letting out all these emotions that maybe you built up over the years, and you're finally letting it out on stage.
It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? Right? It's got to come out every now and then.
Yeah, and you just got to let it out.
But not too much. You don't want them to take over, but
you don't want to become someone you don't want to be. But it is something like, it's like, wow, I actually did that. Yeah. And it's like you get off stage and you're just like so emotionally drained, like, whoa, like I didn't expect to do that. And so, it's always something new.
Well, when it drains you, then how do you recharge for the next time?
I rest. When I get so emotionally and physically drained, I'm just like sitting in my bed. I'm just staring at the ceiling. Of course, I'm constantly thinking about what I can do for the character and about, of course, my day ahead. But it's like, I need to be able to relax. I take showers very frequently. I like being clean. And so being able to take like 20-minute showers and letting myself recharge, I'm just like, my mind is racing, and it's like, I can think, and, and then I get back on stage. I'm like, let's do this. Get off. Oh my God, I need to take another break. It's fun though. It's all, when it's something you love to do, it's all good and fun.
Yeah. What would be your favorite character you haven't done yet?
Hamlet.
Hamlet.
Yes. I would love to play Hamlet. And now one of the other characters, of course, the Doctor from Doctor Who, which is a very, film. But that, Doctor Who being a British show, that's not going to happen. But the actor who played the Doctor once, he played Hamlet, David Tennant. And that's what drew me into Hamlet, is his view on him. And it was a very more modern view. It's still Shakespeare and all, but it was more T-shirts and everything, not necessarily fully clothed. But Hamlet, I think, would be a lot of fun. Because, again, it's sort of like the whole Prince John situation. You know, you're a completely different person. And I think being able to just let out those emotions and step in that character's shoes, I think that would be a lot of fun. So Hamlet and the Doctor would definitely be two characters. The Doctor maybe not being necessarily someone that's going to happen, but with Hamlet, maybe a couple years down the road, I can make happen. Yeah. So
when you're doing martial arts, it's certainly much more physical, but it's also a mental exercise too. What of that mental, physical, in terms of the movement, in terms of the mental discipline, do you bring to acting?
In terms of the mental discipline, I think because in martial arts, you're getting beat up and, and you're, being put in these real life situations and like you're constantly afraid in martial arts. So you're put in these situations. This is what could happen in real life. So someone could kidnap you and take you from the back and just throw you in their van, or people could gang up on you in a small hallway and you got to get out. You got to, fight everyone as much as you can. And you're under a lot of stress and fear. And so thinking back to maybe a character that does go through a lot of stress and fear, that's something that I can just I felt this before, I can actually make this happen on stage. And it's something, and when I start doing drama acting, I'm very in the moment. If I have to cry, I'm just tears coming down. I'm just broken. And it's, because I've felt this in karate before, I've been thrown into the wall. Everyone's beating up on me, and it's, you're physically and mentally just broken, and you're crying and you're hurt. And you take that and you put it into a character who has to be mentally broken and hurt. Yes. And it can be easier to do when you've actually been in that situation before.
Absolutely. So what was most difficult part that you said, I don't have this kind of experience. How do you get into that particular moment for the character's life? And you said, I can't relate to this at all.
I think about other people that I know that have been in this situation. Because everyone comes from different walks of life. Yes. And, I've have several best friends and people that I'm really close to, and I've heard their story. And I keep everything in a very back in my mind sort of thought, and just and then if I need it, I'll reach for that. Yeah. And so just having all these connections with people, and you're just you know what? My best friend Hunter, he's had this sort of experience before. Maybe I'll talk to him about it and ask him about it. And then having that mental note, I can physically put that into a character because I can imagine what it would be like if it was me.
Right. You have a favorite TV series?
Doctor Who. Doctor Who all the time.
And how many Doctor Whos have you seen now?
All of them.
All of them?
All of them. Well, okay, except the one from, the classics. I have, from 1990 or whatever. Right. I've seen a little bit from YouTube clips and whatnot, but since it's so, way back in the day and black and white, and it's so hard to watch, especially when they don't have all of it, because it's they're all missing since they're so old, over 54 years old now.
But they've seemed to reinvent themselves over and over again. Yeah. Which is an interesting metaphor for even ourselves, for life.
Because
how do we reinvent ourselves?
We all,
either on stage or off stage.
We all change. And that was one of the Doctor's quotes is, we all change, if you think about it.
Yes.
We're all different people all through our lives.
Yes.
And it's something to... Doctor Who, I love for their quotes is because they always give you something to think about. Yes. So we all change, but the whole point of changing is not losing sight of yourself. Mm-hmm. Because you always want to remain the same person, or you want to know who you want to be.
Yes.
And it's okay to change, but you always want to make sure you're still the same person to the people you care about.
Those core values, are the same, yes.
So, and Doctor Who is just, I love that show because it's I could become him. I'm always changing. I'm always someone different, but at the same time, I'm still me.
Right.
So, and Doctor Who they're always constantly changing their characters, but that's just him. He dies, he comes back to life, he's a new person. Clean slate! I love the show. It's my favorite.
So the rest of your family, they're really into martial arts. Are they not into music or theater?
They're not big theater
really?
People. I'm
it's okay,
the only one. Yeah. It's
so how does that happen? You skip a generation, like your grandfather or grandparents?
I have no idea what happened. Yeah. They're just... occasionally my dad will just be like, you know what? I want to get in the show with you. Let's go audition together.
Right.
Or my brother will be in the backstage helping out.
Right.
But in terms of, oh my god, I have to audition for this, this, and this, they're just like, that's not their thing. But I'm just like, oh, Dad, can I go audition for this? I'm like, I really don't want to drive you. Please no. But I don't know. My mom, however, she did a little bit of high school theater. Yeah. And I guess that's sort of where I got it from. It's just her doing a long time ago high school theater. But she did like 1 or 2 and then she stopped.
Why?
And I don't know.
Wasn't her thing?
It wasn't. I guess she liked it.
Time, or?
She liked it, is what she said. But at the same time, since it was like high school, I assume she just didn't have the time for it. Yeah. So it's like something she just stopped along the way. So it's like for me to pick it up, 5th child in the family, and I'm the one here over at theater. I'm always acting and just like, this is what I want to do. Go to college, take up theater and minor, or acting and minor. I say acting.
Yeah.
Because, theater or filmography, I would love to do both. It doesn't matter.
Let's talk about filmography. What is it about film that you really like, that you want to do?
I think the thing about film is it is much different than theater acting, because with film, in terms of dramas, you have a more wide range of characters. Because in acting, you're very restricted to what you can do. Yeah. Because it's like you can only move this far. Right. You can only go this far into the character. But with film, looking into it, like the Doctor, for instance, he changes his personalities every time he changes. Yeah. And so that's something like you can widen your range and what you can do with film. Yeah. And I think that would be a lot of fun to try and do. And it's like you have more opportunities to just break down and crying, and something you can't do in theater because you never get this opportunity to do. And I think doing film would just be a completely different experience than what I've had for the past 6 years. So I think film being different it would be a good experience. I think that would be fun.
So do you have any stories that you just have a passion for telling that you would want to tell on film, or?
I don't know. I think it's more of, because the type of person I am, I enjoy making people happy. Right. And I like making people smile, and, acting is an extension of that. So in any way I can act, whether I'm a brat on stage or, evil, or I'm a goody two-shoes, in some way or another I'm making someone smile. Yes. And so if I can portray that in any way in acting, I will. Right. So that's the story I want to tell. It's just, I'm going to make you happy. So this is how I'm going to do it. Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting because it seems like in film, because you're disconnected from the audience. Right. I mean, we don't get the immediate feedback. We don't get the immediate feedback. We screw up. We know it. Oh, yeah. The joke falls flat. Guess what? We don't get this. What the heck? What's going on? The mic messes up. Everyone's laughing. They're just like,
was it Saturday? I mean, they had a great time, but they were quiet as all.
Right. That was the weirdest audience.
It's like, but they had a great time. Right. But they were quiet about it, and we kind of need that. Yeah.
We need the feedback. The thing with the Saturday performance last Saturday was they laughed at the weirdest parts.
It was weird things that people hadn't laughed at before, and not that it wasn't funny, but it's like, what's going on?
It's like, come on for a second. Like, Elle flips over her heart-shaped notebook. Yeah. Everyone every night laughed at that. Saturday night, no one laughed. Crickets. Chris and I were just like trying to like bring it up a bit. We're like making weird facial expressions, like, what's going on here? Yeah. No one laughed. It was the weirdest thing. This is, man, you get some of those weird audiences, and you're just like, you gotta deal with it.
Saturday, I've always said Saturday is one of those weird things. Yeah. I remember Buddy Holly, one of the largest crowds ever, the quietest crowd ever, too. But they had a great time. They said, oh, man, we had a great time. And we said, yeah, really? Really? It didn't sound like it.
You could be lying, but I don't know that. I'm going off of your feedback. Like, come on, man. It's like some people, they're funny. The audience can be funny sometimes. You just got to learn to work with them. And that's the reality of it. Is we're all working for the people. Like, this is community.
This is all we get. Yeah. This is all we get. It's how they feel about us, and that's our pay. Mm-hmm. That's it.
We're not getting paid for it.
But that is our pay.
That is our pay.
Yes,
we're under their roof.
That is their pay. You must have gone to a competition a lot of times, right? When you're doing martial arts.
Actually, no. We're not the competition type.
You're not in the competitions. Mm-mm. No.
So all of it is just the self-defense aspect.
Really?
So and why my dad would always leave me for like rehearsal is like, you're on your own, bye, is because we've been in martial arts and we've actually been trained and physically and mentally trained for this situation to happen. So if something were to happen, someone tried try to throw me in the truck. I trained for that. I know how to deal with it.
Been there.
Yeah, been there. Or theoretically been there.
Yeah, that's right. I'm ready.
Yeah, he's like, I trust you. I know what you're capable of.
Yeah.
And so it's all about the self-defense and aspect of it. And so we have the option to enter a contest or a competition.
But
we never have. Really. Because it's all about making ourselves better. And it's all about surviving in the outside world.
Yes.
More than it is, I have bragging rights.
Right.
So you could, but honestly, I don't see the point in it, in entering competitions, except, again, bragging rights.
Right.
So it's like, I would want to, if I were to be put in a situation, life-threatening, I want to know how to deal with it.
Right.
And protect myself and protect the people I care about and love.
Right.
I have several best friends that I'm very protective over. And if I can't take care of them, that's my fault. Like, I need to be able to put myself in this situation for them to make sure they're safe.
Right.
And since, none of my friends except, my best friend that I grew up doing karate with, him and I, we'll get together and we'll, be protective from afar. We'll just be like looking after our friends and just like, okay, that person means no harm, so, we'll be fine. But if something were to happen, we'd go and investigate, like, right away.
This sounds like a Jason Bourne kind of thing.
We're just like,
assess without even thinking about it.
And so it's
threat or no threat.
Right, exactly. And honestly, when you go into grocery stores, that's what you're looking. You're literally scanning around the grocery store, just looking around, just like,
Caleb, Secret Service man.
Right. That's exactly like what it is. It's just...
Or person of interest.
Person of interest. I will find you. I will. We'll figure something out. But it's like you're scanning the room, and you're just like, that guy doesn't seem like a threat. This guy might want to hurt me. We'll see what happens. Because if you're going to be really close to someone, you just want to make sure he's not going to take you and just try and throw you in a van. So it's like, it's all about body language and scanning through the area and making sure you're not putting yourself in a situation you wouldn't want to be.
Right.
So martial arts is all about looking after yourself. To me, it's all about looking after yourself and protecting the people you love. So, and that's why I'm in martial arts, is because I'm training for me and for, Carson and Cosette and, Caleb or Caleb number 2, as I call him. But it's all about, I love these people. I'm going to look after them. This is why I know martial arts. So it may not look like I do, but that's why whenever it's like, oh yeah, Caleb's here. Great. He knows martial arts. No one will try, because I'm like, I'm skinny. Like, who's going to people are going to try and pick on me. I'm just like, nope. It's, it's fun.
Had a great time this summer. I hope you have too.
Oh yeah.
It was a great time. But when these things end, and they always do, how do you take that?
It's so hard.
I know, it's so hard.
It's so sad because you get so many...
You get so close to these friends. And they'll still be friends.
Oh, yeah.
But it's different when you're apart from the production.
Because they become your family.
Yes.
And it's like, once you stop seeing them, it's like whenever your favorite sibling goes to college and they're moving away, and you're just like, when am I going to see you again?
Oh, no.
And it's like, that's such a bittersweet ending. And it's like, I don't know when I'm seeing you again. I'm going to miss you. Like, because you get so close with some of these people. And you're just like, either I'm going to, have your number and I'm going to stalk you on a daily basis. Or we're just going to friend you on Facebook and see what you're up to. I don't know. But it is such a bittersweet ending. Because then you're just like, what do I do with my life? Because it's like you get so used to going rehearsals every day of the week, and then it ends, and you're just like, you're in bed. I'm like, I have nothing to do today. What am I to do? Like, do I play video games, or do I go walk outside and enjoy nature? I don't know. It's hard. It's hard dealing with it. But again, like, once theater ends, I'm either doing karate or nothing.
Right.
So it's like,
well, there must be something.
Has to.
Do you write? What do you do? You write songs, play instrument? What do you do?
I used to play the instrument, but that was when
what did you play?
I played the guitar.
Okay.
A long time ago, before I got into theater.
Yeah.
Well, I did, and then I stopped playing guitar because I got into theater. But then it's like I think that's all I do is just do martial arts when I'm not doing. Because I'm either doing it in my head, at the house, or just waiting for the next class to happen. And of course, with my health issue, I have to take a step back from martial arts and just rest. Yeah. So as of now, I enjoy just going out and walking. Like, cause my parents are not always at the house, they're always doing something, working. And Joshua and I, my brother and I, we're always in the house. Yeah. And we're homeschooled too. So it's like, we're either doing schoolwork on our own or doing nothing. Yeah. Like, we're just waiting for the next big thing to happen. So next audition for me to happen, or martial arts every Tuesday and Thursday. We're constantly waiting for something. I like keeping myself busy. So I'm constantly either doing chores or, again, writing stories. As you said, I tend to just write my thoughts since I overthink a lot of things. I have a bunch of thoughts going inside my head that never come out. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to write something down, see what comes of it. And, if I get something out of it, then sure, why not? Yeah. That'll be fun. I also have a YouTube channel that I have been trying to upload. I haven't uploaded in a while just because I've been busy with this show. Of course. But it's something that I'm going to try and, keep myself busy if I don't have theater or martial arts going on. So it's like YouTube would be a fun hobby. Like write a script, maybe put it on YouTube, film myself. Yeah. That's something I'd have fun doing is, YouTube, recording myself, writing stories. That's what I should do. I should write stories and I should put it on YouTube. Why haven't I thought of that? That just came to my head. That'll be fun.
Well, you've been writing for a while now, right?
I wouldn't say for a while. Probably for about a year or two where
it's only a year. Yeah. So, but even if you look back that year, what do you see in that younger Caleb?
Oh, I see so much.
What would you tell him? Note to self.
What would I tell him is don't stress so much. Good gosh. Like a year ago, even now I'm a really big worrywart and I'm stressed about
What do you worry about?
Everything! I worry about my friends, for instance. But
thank you for that. I mean, that you worry about it. So,
yeah, but it's like...
Mr. Reese.
Right? But it's like, I would be talking to my friends like, Caleb, can we talk to you? Or I need to vent these problems. Yeah. And I'm just like, now I have to find a solution for you. Like, I don't know. And then, so I'm always stressing about either my friends and trying to keep them happy or just, just normal everyday things. Like, what should I be worried about doing? Like, I got to keep myself busy so I'm not constantly flooded with these thoughts.
Right.
Last year, I wasn't constantly busy. I was always in my bedroom just stressing and worrying and just like, oh my God, calm down for once. I'm a bit better now that I've had time to, recuperate. I'm back in a show. Because last year, I think I only did one show, and that was Shrek. And that was like, oh man, one show that needs to change.
No way.
It's like when getting into theater, I would do 3 shows a year. Yeah. And that was, I love doing that. And now this is my second show. Gonna take a step back for a little bit because of health issues. Right. So 2 shows a year, that's not my thing. Yeah. So I'm gonna start driving eventually. This year I'm gonna hopefully start driving, and because my dad wants me to. He's done driving me to rehearsal. So it's like, we need to get you driving. Like, goodness. So yeah, I'm gonna hopefully start driving, and once I start driving, it'll be so much easier to just like get into rehearsals. I'll see something I want to audition for. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go audition. Bye. Yeah. And so it's like, okay. So, because it's something I'm very passionate about acting. So it's like anytime I see a show that I think would be fun, such as Three Musketeers will be a very fun one to do if I end up getting in it. Yeah. It's, if I can do it and keep myself occupied, oh heck, I'm going to audition. So it's like either here at the Owen, over in Houston, or somewhere.
There's so many places to do things. I mean,
in the Woodlands. Like, absolutely. You can find so many community theaters.
There's a lot out there, which is good. Yeah. Good thing for actors. Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of things to do.
And you can find a lot of variety, a lot of different people. And that's one of the most fun things I love about theater is because you're always constantly meeting
all different
people.
Backgrounds. It's amazing.
I almost didn't do this show, Legally Blonde, is because, again, my dad didn't want to drive me to rehearsals for the next 2.5 months. So
you just finished a show, right?
Oh yeah, Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, you just finished Romeo and Juliet. Because I remember talking, and they go like, oh, geez, another show.
Yeah, right? Like, kind of on. Luckily, I had Carson, and so she can drive me from rehearsals, and she can drive me home.
Right.
And so, luckily I have her, but I don't want to keep relying on her until, like, she's finally done. Because it's like, I got to pay her gas money. Like, here you go. Right. And of course she doesn't mind. It's we find it really quite fun. Mm-hmm. But, I don't want to, put that on her shoulders. So, again, I'm going to wait and make sure I start driving. Maybe let my parents recuperate and recharge. So, but yeah.
Well, so doesn't mean because the health issues keeping you from acting. Mm-hmm. You're not the first person to say this. There's a lot of people, even in this cast, that have had health issues over the years that have kept them away for years. Yeah, and it's kind of I think about that and say, my goodness, if something kept me away from my passion for years, I don't know how I would live.
I wouldn't, because I'd just be so depressed. Because theater is one of my main sources of happiness. And if I'm away from it too long, I'm just like, oh my God, I miss it. I need to do something. Wow, because you don't realize how much something is a part of you until you stop doing it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that's I last year I only did one show, and getting into Romeo and Juliet, I realized I miss doing dramas. Wow, I'm loving this. I'll always be going home with my dad. I'm just telling him I'm very energized about this, very emotionally drained, but very excited and. You're away from it long enough, and then you're just energized every performance you get. It doesn't have you could be in Tech Week and you could just be having the time of your life, and that's because people get very stressed out in Tech Week too. But then there's me. I'm just I love this. Stay longer hours. Heck yeah, I'm here longer.
So how do you wind down when you get home? Because I know I have a hell of a time doing that.
After
hard. Anything, after performance especially.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. It's not like I'm going to bed right now. No.
Yeah, I can't. It's hard. What I do though is I do like listening to music. I enjoy
what kind?
A lot of just a very slow rock music.
Yeah.
It can just be Christian rock.
Sure.
It can be just rock music, but I like the rock the rock genre because they actually tell stories, and there's music that you can listen to the lyrics and you could relate to. Yeah. And so I have a lot of bands that I listen to on a daily basis.
For instance,
Skillet.
Okay.
Skillet it's a Christian rock band, but it's a very relatable band that you could just wow, I love the stories, especially their Rise album, which they tell a whole story. So it's the song will end and then it moves on from maybe a parent talking down to their kid, and then the next song will be called Sick of It.
Right.
And that's when the kid just rises up against their parents sort of thing.
Right.
Or something like that. And you're just again, I've never been like that. I've never been rebellious, but I mean, it's something that's just wow, they're actually telling a story, and it's fun to listen to. And so I listen to Skillet, Starset, Nate Wants to Battle, which is he's a new artist. He's by himself. He's not necessarily a band. Yeah. But it's songs that I can just lay down and play on a very low volume and just listen to in the background. So that, or I'm just still keeping myself busy by doing chores and working because I need to keep myself busy. I can't just stop being not doing anything. If I just sit on my bed and I stare at the ceiling, my mind will start racing and I'll start overthinking, and that's when I start stressing, and that's because my mind is going 1,000,000 miles per hour. But it's I never really slow down long enough to just de-stress and just and that's something I need to start doing more often, is because if I keep stressing myself out more, it's not going to be healthy. It's not good
for the body.
Yeah, it's not.
Absolutely.
And so finally, a couple of days ago, I just sat down and I just played video games all day, which is something I don't do every day. It's just because I need to constantly keep myself busy. So I'm playing the Xbox. I'm I need to do this more. If I'm just doing nothing, let me play a couple of video games.
I actually find whenever I went through a really stressful part of my life, that if you really get into it, and I don't mean just playing, but really get into it, it blocked everything else out.
Oh, yeah.
It was incredible.
It was fantastic.
It just blocked all that stress, all those worries completely out. But you really had to get into it. This is not just a part-time thing. You got to get wholly into it.
Because some of the games that you play will have incredible storyline and character development, and you're oh my God, I love this guy. There's the game Halo.
Right.
Oh, that's such a good storyline. That game I'll get into. And just the Master Chief and Cortana and their adventures, fighting the Covenant, and I get really into the Halo Master Chief series. That's a good game.
If you were going to write your own video game, what would it be about?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Because I think
gotta have a good story.
You gotta have a good story. You gotta have a good,
related.
You gotta have plot, and you gotta have character development. You gotta, have these characters that'll affect this character a certain way.
Right.
But I think it'll be more of a character that's, he's trying to find himself in a sense while fighting against, his demons. So he's like trapped inside his head, and as he's inside his head, he's fighting all these demons, and he has other people that come in and like help him find himself, and he finally finds the light. And, I think that would be a cool story. Like just someone to find themselves.
That would be interesting because most of the time when the character, like I said, certainly there's always this fighting element.
Right.
Of course.
Every game has a fighting element.
But to have an element where that conflict is in their head would be interesting. Because
everyone deals with it. Like
in real life,
every other teenager I know is always dealing with a monster inside their head.
Yes.
And I think having a game for that, like being able to create something for, teenagers to play, for instance, that'll be a game for them to release stress and just like, this is what's going on inside my head. You put down the controller and you're just like, you feel better about yourself. Just because, you help someone else fight it in a little virtual world. And I think that'd be cool. That'd be a fun thing. I think
it would be a fun thing. I don't think I've ever seen a game like that.
Yeah, because then you also got to have these characters, this person's friends inside his head helping him find his light. Right. So,
they're almost like alternate realities of what's out in the world.
Oh yeah. That'll be cool.
I like that. I think you need to do that. I'll play that game.
Yeah, I'll start writing a script.
Awesome. I see bucks. I see
bucks. Some money cashing in.
So where do you want to go to school when you get out? Or do you want to do something, take time off before you go to college? Assuming you want to go to college, yeah.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to go to college. Yeah, as far as I know, I'm working on getting my GED right now. Okay. Being homeschooled, I'm going to a homeschool.
Yes.
Homeschool high school, per se. It's an alternative school, but you have to go there to get your GED since I was never part of a homeschool.
So are you doing some dual credit courses too at the colleges? No? Okay.
No. Okay. I'm just working on math and science and English and history and just the basic things.
Right.
But as far as college goes, I'm definitely thinking of minoring in acting and majoring in business because if I can make this a business and make my life out of it, heck yeah. That's what I want to do for my life is just act and make money off of it. And
I think it's a good dual kind of major, if you will.
Yeah, because it's
practical, but at the same time, you can still follow your passions.
Mm-hmm. And see, with majoring in business, I believe that if acting doesn't work out, you'll at least have the know-how of what to fall back on. Because I don't want to be like, acting didn't work out. Here I am working at Taco Bell. Like I don't want that to happen. So it's like having a plan it's very important to me because it's like I want acting to work out so badly because it's so good and passionate about it. But at the same time, if it doesn't, I don't want to be nowhere.
Right. Well, it might work out for an entire career. Mm-hmm. It might work out for part of your career.
Yeah.
And you decide it's time to switch.
Yeah.
Now, maybe just like people start acting and maybe they go into directing. Well, maybe you start the acting, directing, and now you start producing, right?
Yeah.
Films or whatever.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you need the business sense about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so whether that lasts 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, you don't know.
Right.
But you're ready.
Yeah. No see, and like I could be, I don't know where I could be in the next 10 years. I could be on Broadway making like big money, or I could be in film doing something else. Like I could be in California, who knows what. But it's something that I love to do, and hopefully I can do more of down the road. And so that's where I want to be. Is I still want to be doing acting.
Yes.
It's like as long as I can be someone else.
Yes.
That'll be my dream. That's where my mind is headed right now. It's just being someone else down the road. Still me, of course, but maybe playing another brat won't be as bad.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. I'd love to play Prince John again, I'll tell you that.
Really?
Yeah. When I got cast as Prince John, I was 13 years old.
Yes.
Prince John is 16 years old. His character, he's 16. Yes. So I was playing someone that was like just twice my age for a second there. And it's like 3 years older than me. I'm 16 now, going on to 17. I'm like, I could play him so much better. Because we got, they had the thing recorded for us and that we could look back on and play in our
and when you look at that, what do you see?
I see, like, I should have projected more.
Okay, but beyond that,
But it's,
you don't have that problem now, trust me.
Right? I'm just like, because I fixed that problem. Looking back, I fixed that. But with Prince John, I think being a brat would be easier now, just because it's like I played him once. Maybe I can try some different type of approach to it.
Right.
And I think being able to play that character again that will be something different, because it's like every time you try something, the same thing,
yes,
you're gonna take a different approach to it.
Absolutely.
Because nothing is the same thing twice.
Well, let's talk about that particular character. Okay, you say he's a brat.
Oh yeah.
But certainly there's probably different layers to that. Is this about brat as control? Is this brat of just as attention? Is this a brat about its subterfuge, or you're deflecting from something? I mean, there must be many moments in there where it can be different things. So now you're looking back at the character.
Prince John, he wanted the kingdom. He wants what his father has, and if he doesn't get that, he starts throwing a fit.
But there's a lot of scheming that goes on
that
play.
A lot
of scheming.
Everyone is plotting.
Yes.
And so Prince John, he's trying to get Jeffrey in on this, and it's like, Jeffrey, I need you to do this for me, and just like Jeffrey. And then when he finally doesn't get Jeffrey's help, he goes like, excuse me, like, I am your master. Like, I'm the future king, so when I call you, come. And he's trying to be in control, even though he's the youngest boy.
Yes.
He wants to make sure that everyone is under his control. He wants everyone to be under his thumb. And if he doesn't get that, he's gonna start throwing fits. And a lot of words that I'm not gonna say.
right.
Because they're very bad words, but, used in the show. And so, he would fight. He'd be willing to kill his father in order to get that. Right. But of course, Jeffrey and Richard, they're all three willing to kill his father. And finally, given the opportunity, this is not the way. Like, how can we do this? But with Prince John, you're just like, he's plotting against everyone. Like, not just Jeffrey. He's trying to get Jeffrey under his control, yes, but he's trying to figure out how to turn his father into going from Richard's side onto Prince John. Now, of course, King Henry, he says he's on Prince John's side. Right. He's like, I'm going to give you the crown, the Aquitaine, I'm going to give it to you. But really, he's like lying. And he's like, he's going to give it to Richard. But at the same time, King Henry is trying to fool Eleanor, who is saying Richard is who she's going to give it to. So it's like everyone is just like a whirlwind of emotions. So it's like everyone is trying to plot and scheme and other bad words, and it's Prince John trying to be open and elude everyone into his control is he needs to act a certain way, and he knows how to do it.
Right.
He just needs to figure out in what form.
Right.
So,
it's kind of interesting. We talk about acting, and then certainly you talk about Lion in Winter. Even this show, Legally Blonde, there are a lot of words.
Oh yeah.
It is very wordy.
It's very wordy.
But, a lot of acting isn't necessarily about the words. It's all what goes unsaid.
Yeah.
So how do you transition from that? Obviously, words part of our palette, right? Our toolbox we have, our paintbrush, if you will. But when you don't have something to say, but I guess there is something to say, but it's in a more body language.
It's the body language.
How do you approach those parts in your character?
When it comes, because everyone is looking for some type of emotion spilling out of you.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have the words to use that, you're using your facial expressions. You're using your body. So if you're sad, you're slouching. And you're just like, you're very self-doubt. And, and Prince John, he would slouch, and he's just like, he'd be thinking, and he's just very moody. And so being able to portray that, you have to know what goes on in someone's head who is always, thinking and moody. And so it's like, again, it's the part of having the connections. So you're watching what everyone else is doing.
Yes.
And then you're taking that into an account.
Yes.
And using that to your own. So for me, it's all about learning and taking and seeing what other people are doing in order to use it to your own advantage.
Right.
So everyone uses something, and I use observing other people in order to make that happen. So it's all about, and Romeo and Juliet just recently, Benvolio is a very emotional character. You know, he's one of the part of the trio who's always trying to stay strong, and he's the messenger boy. Romeo is breaking down, and, you know, he's crying because of Juliet, and Mercutio is, you know, he's always cracking jokes, but then he throws a fit and he dies, and then it's just Benvolio and Romeo after Tybalt, you know, and then being in that moment, I was just like breaking down, crying on stage. And that was like something I had never done in a show before, where I'm just like on my knees, just crying. Because in the scene there in Romeo and Juliet, Benvolio is like, what just happened? Like, his world just changed right before him. So he knows that this is Romeo's fault. Not necessarily his fault, but he was a part of this. So he knows that they're either going to behead Romeo or banish him. Romeo is like Benvolio's cousin. He's his brother. He's as close to him as close can be. So he's going to try and get him out of trouble. So in order to stop all this, he gets Romeo out of the way, and Benvolio tries to explain to the prince, like, this is what happened. But in doing so, his emotions are just like spilling out of him. And being Benvolio, I'm the one who has to portray all these emotions all at once. So it's like, it's all about the shouting and the body language, and you're just like constantly twitching yourself and just like moving and heavy. You're very animated, and it's all, the body language tells a story more than words could.
Yes.
And so again, being very animated is a good way to do that. It's because that's what people are looking at.
Yeah. If heaven exists, what do you want God to say when you get to the pearly gates?
As I've said before, I like making people happy. I like making people smile, and I try to take that into account in everyday life. So, and that's why I believe I'm here, is to make people happy and smile. So, what I would want God to say is, thank you.
Yes.
You did your job.
Yes.
And I think that would make everything worthwhile.
That would make you happy.
That would make me happy.
Caleb, thank you so much for being here. I know you're making people happy.
Thank you so much.